Hello and welcome to the Overseas Level Institute. Today we are going to take your IELTS speaking mock test. Alright, so your speaking test will be recorded, so make sure you speak loudly. Alright, so let's start with your speaking test. So, can I know your full name, please?
My full name is Harshika Sondhi.
And what can I call you?
You can simply call me Harshika.
Okay, Harshika. So, where are you from?
I am from Jagadri, which is a small town in the state of Haryana.
Alright, now since this is a mock test, so you don't need to show your ID. Otherwise, in the real exam, you need to show your passport to the exam. Alright? Okay, so now let's talk about where you live. So, can you tell me about your hometown?
Yes, my hometown is quite a small place,
A bit louder, please.
yeah. Yes, my hometown is quite a small place where it is much easier for the people to move from one destination to another in a shorter span of time. Moreover, there are a lot of religious places in my hometown which reflect the cultural history and heritage of my town. So that's the special qualities of my hometown.
Alright. So, what are the most popular places in your hometown?
Well, there are a lot of popular places in my hometown. My hometown is quite famous for its industrial city, as there are a lot of steel utensils which are being manufactured in my city. So that is the basic popular thing which is related to my city. Moreover, there are a lot of number of parks which are being famous in my town because they are present in my town from a very long time ago.
Alright. Would you like to stay in your hometown in the future?
For a shorter time, I must say yes, that I would like to live in my hometown. But if I talk about the future in the long run, so I am already planning to moving to Canada for my higher studies. So I'll be living there in the long term.
Alright. Let's move on and talk about crowded places today.
Okay.
So, how do you feel when you are in a crowded place?
Well, to be honest, being in a crowded place can be sometimes overwhelming for me. Experiencing a lot of people and a lot of congestion around me can be felt a bit more anxious to me. But I also respect sometimes that the crowded and the lively atmosphere of the places, which involves a lot of people, are also important for someone who is exploring his or her personal interests.
Okay. When was the last time you were in a crowded place?
Well, I vividly remember that it was the time during the festival which is very popular in our country, that is Diwali. That time I was a shopping complex with my mother, and there were a lot of people around me who were buying different type of things which are mandatory for that festival.
Okay. So, what places do you think are often crowded?
As I live in the city, there are a lot of places which are crowded often. For instance, the shopping malls, the city centers, they are being filled with the number of people as uh, as people are quite busy in shopping there. Moreover, some places which are a tourist attraction can be crowded because a number of people from the other cities visit to that place during the vacations to explore that particular place.
Okay. So, how often do you go to crowded places?
Well, as I told you earlier, that I live in a city which is in which the life is quite fast moving. So there are a lot of places which are very much crowded. For instance, if I talk about a road that is being congested by a lot of traffic and has a lot of.
How often do you go to crowded places?
Okay. Um, So as I told you earlier that I live in a city which is having a fast-paced life. So there are a lot of places which I came across in my daily routine and day-to-day life which are very much crowded. For instance, I told about you as of the shopping complexes and centers which.
Okay. Do you like crowded places?
Well, sometimes overcrowded places can be overwhelming, but I also enjoy the lively atmosphere of that places, which involves a lot of people and a lot of things which are present in that atmosphere.
Alright. Now I'm going to give you a topic and I would like you to talk about for 1 to 2 minutes for this. Before you
Okay.
talk, you'll have 1 minute to make some notes if you wish. Okay? This is your topic. Describe a skill you learned in your childhood.
Okay.
You'll have 1 minute now, okay, to
Okay.
make some notes if you wish. Alright, remember your 1 to 2 minutes for this, so do not worry if I stop you. I will tell you when the time is up. Can you start speaking now, please?
Yeah, sure. So I like to talk about a skill which I learned in my childhood. Is it is the skill of cooking which I learned from my mother during my early age. I vividly remember that I was around 9 to 10 years old when I firstly started to know that I am having an interest in cooking. Usually, I used to help my mother in various type of cooking which she done in her time. My mother has actually an keen interest in cooking, and she has also learned a lot about making different type of special cuisines and special dishes. So that was the time when I get to know that I am really interested in cooking and I have a lot of fun while I am cooking. So I asked my mother to give me a deep understanding and knowledge of all the basic techniques which are being used in the cooking. So she started. She started giving me the introduction of various type of basic techniques and the strategies which she uses while she cook. I remember that it was the time of my summer vacation, and I also joined a 15 days program where I learned special type of dishes and baking the cakes also. Initially, I was facing a lot of difficulties in the distribution of spices. I was not able to put adequate amount of spices in the dishes, and that time I thought that it is not my cup of tea. But with the regular assistance of my mother and regular practicing, I came across that all the challenges, and it took me a year for properly understanding and grabbing the knowledge of cooking. I like to add that that was the time when I was facing a lot of difficulties, but now I am very efficient and good making all the dishes. And now all of my friends and relatives are quite interesting uh, about me making any kind of special dish for them.
Alright, that is the end of the topic.
Okay.
Can I have it back? Alright, so we have been talking about a new skill that you learned, okay, and have some more questions on that. So let's talk about skills now. So, what is the difference between children learning and adults learning?
Okay. It can depend on the ability of a children or an adult of learning a new skill. Well, as we know that children uh, are quite fast in learning any type of new activity as compared to the adults or the older people. Children are much more engaged in different type of activities which involves like they can learn any kind of skill through their smartphone, which is very a versatile tool, and they can grasp the information from various online kinds of social platforms. But the older people are more likely to uh, grasp any knowledge of a new skill from a person face to face, by which they can have a deeper understanding, and they can also tell about what other difficulties they are facing, so that the people who are teaching them can tell the practices which they can use for overcoming their challenges.
Okay, so what practical skills can young people teach old people?
Okay. Well, as far as I am concerned, there is a lot of innovative technology that is been developing in our country, and the older people are not that much aware of that technology and the development. So younger generation find it very easy and interesting about knowing new features and the recent developments which are being done in the recent era. So they can always tell the older people about different features of the smartphones and how they can save their time and effort for searching any type of new information online.
What skills can younger people learn from older people?
Okay. Well, in the past time, older people used to have a lot of practical skills. For example, I must say that my grandmother used to knit the sweaters, woolen sweaters by her own, and younger generation do not have that much interest in making the sweaters by themselves. They prefer to wear the ready-made sweaters. So that is the skill which is which can be very useful for the upcoming generation. So I think that. Especially the girls should.
Okay, where can we learn practical skills?
Okay. Well, as I told you earlier, that there is a technological advancement in our country and in all around the world. So there are a lot of numerous platforms where we can learn the practical skills. Like we can subscribe any program online, and we can attend the online classes and get the knowledge of that skill. In addition, there are also some centers which provide a particular 15 to 20 days program of giving the knowledge of a new skill. So these are the different the different places from where we can learn a new and a basic skill.
All right, that is the end of your speaking test. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so now let's talk about the feedback.
Okay.
So overall, your speaking was good, right? There were a lot of things that we can take, and you can get good marks for that. So let's talk to the part one. So in the part one, there were some good words like reflect, and there are a lot of adjectives that were being used.
Okay.
So maintain that. Okay, there was good fluency with, and you were able to give the reasons for almost all of the questions. So maintain that. In part one, see, two things are important. First is your fluency, and you just need to state a reason for any question. So that was done. So no problem with part one. So next was about the topic was about a crowded place. So I think most of the questions were again rightly answered. There were few grammatical mistakes like can be felt anxious. So you can say
Okay.
so I felt
Feel
anxious,
anxious.
not can be. Okay. Otherwise there is no problem with that. You use a connector like moreover, so that is good. But you used it for two times
Okay.
in the part one, so you can use another one. All right. And coming to the clue card, so we talked about a skill in which we talked about the food and how we learn to prepare food. The topic was fine. You spoke for more than 2 minutes, so that was also good. You used the idiomatic language like it was cup of tea, so again you get marks for that. Um, Otherwise, there were good adjectives like interesting, challenges, and cuisines. So that is the good part. So for the cue card, I think it was rightly done. Okay, maybe one or more connector could become right. You add like
Okay.
I would also like to add that. So that came few more. Like when you're just going to end, you can add connector over there. Talking about now part three. So again, the question was about the skill. So they were relevant answers. Just on the improvement side, you can work on few more, maybe give an example in one question or the other. You talked about the practical skills about the sweater and all, right? So that was fine. Even in the other questions, like what practical skills can young people tell? So you can also add an example in that.
Okay.
Okay, so maybe talking about how to use a mobile phone or any such type of skills you can add. Okay, um, connectors like in addition came in part three. You were fluent, the ideas were there. So good job. So with this level, right, you should be expecting a score of 7 bands in your oral speaking. All right, so work on more on the range of connectors, use more adjectives, and maybe one or two idioms if you can use somewhere that can further help. All right, thank you.
Thank you.